Greetings and welcome to Ghost Chat and Other Paranormal Things. I'm one of your hosts, Electric Elisa,
And I'm your other host, Jody. Hello.
and today we have.
James from the Southwestern Paranormal Society.
That's it. Yeah, we
All
changed
right.
it. Changed it from the Arizona Ghost Channel to the Southwestern Paranormal Society. Thought it sounded
Awesome.
more professional.
Awesome.
Anything new going on with you guys right now?
We just did a paranormal day back in April. Yeah, April. And met some really cool people there. Some collaborations with some other people. We usually we had a good time with it. Got our booth set up and everything, and got to meet with some famous ghost hunters. We had Daryl Marston from Ghost Hunters came in and
Oh,
did
wow.
yeah, I know, right? He came in and did
Cool.
a ghost, like not really an online video chat with us, and we got to sit in on that. It was really interesting, really spectacular. We had a couple of gals that were doing a talk on how to do things with spirit board and pendulums and dowsing rods, which I'm not a huge fan of spirit
Wow.
boards, but
Okay.
definitely using dowsing rods for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, those work for. We found my brother-in-law called me up one day. He says, "How good are you at those dowsing rods?" I said, "Well, I mean, the net's better at it." I said, "What do you wanting to do?" He says, "Well, we
Yeah.
just need to find." I'm like, "Yeah, we can do that." Sure enough, we ended up finding a water source. It wasn't his water line; it was his neighbor's water line. But nonetheless, it did work. So I thought that was
Oh,
kind of
wow.
pretty amazing.
I was going
Um,
to ask you about dowsing rods because I see the net uses them quite a bit
yeah,
and how effective they seem to be.
yeah,
Well,
they're
I
pretty
just got
effective.
some.
Yeah, they're very effective.
Uh-huh.
I was kind of skeptical at first,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, after doing several, having a net blindfolded and me asking dowsing rods, it's so crazy. There's no other way of explanation. How do you figure
Yeah.
that? Two copper rods, and they point to where you find. Like, how do you explain
Yes.
that?
I
That's
don't know.
it's
I've got
insane.
a pair myself, and the first time I used them, I was skeptical too. I'm like, these don't work. And I sat there and asked a question, and they work.
They
It's
yeah,
crazy.
they do. It's crazy. We did a test on it's on our YouTube channel, and we had a net standing behind a wall, and we had my son moving around behind the wall where she couldn't see anything.
Hmm.
And so that was the test that we did initially, but then I like to throw in my spin of it, and I decided nobody had any idea that I was going to do this. I didn't even know I was going to do this. I
Oh,
just
wow.
idea. Let's blindfold a net. Let's have her have the dowsing rods out. I'm going to hold a random object, and it happened to be, I don't know, I think it was a remote or a cell phone or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And hey, dowsing rods, spirits, if you're here, can you please point to this object that I have in my hand? And I was real quiet about it, and I moved it from one end of the house to the other,
Yeah.
and the dowsing rods were just pointing to it.
Wow.
It was really cool. Yeah, check it out. It's on our YouTube channel. It's one of our very first YouTube videos that we did, so it's kind of like
Okay.
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Definitely check
I
it
know
out.
that.
Really interesting.
Yeah, with dowsing rods, I had got some like a couple months ago. I did take them out one place where we found this old. Um, it's like an old mining town.
Hmm.
Um, and I did use it, and it did seem to point towards something. I don't know what because I couldn't verify it. So, but a friend of mine would use them. Like when we in our old house, we tried to use them to see if we could
Hmm.
talk to anything. But my husband used to work for the water department in Florida, and he said they had these really expensive machines, and they had a guy with dowsing rods, and he said the guy with the dowsing rods was way more accurate
Oh,
than the
wow.
machinery. So I don't know. Maybe copper is attracted to water.
Uh, yeah, it is kind of weird being in the copper mines. Yeah, but it's a conductivity for just about anything.
Hmm.
Spiritual energy, water. It's like copper's like the number one thing, and we have a little theory, and we haven't really had a chance to really test it. But in our Cobra Valley Center for the Arts, which is the old courthouse here in the Globe, we have there's just the whole entire rail system up the stairs is copper. So we get a lot of spiritual activity on there. Now that could be because copper is generating energy. It could be because, but either way, there's a lot of spiritual activity on that particular stairwell, and we have a theory that the copper is either a conductant of energy itself, or B, the spirits are just highly attracted to it. We have no idea.
Yeah,
Wow.
that sounds like more tests need to be done with copper.
For sure.
And being that we live in a copper town, I mean, that's probably why our town is so haunted.
Maybe. I mean, I'm wondering, because you hear also a lot about Jerome.
Yeah, Jerome too was a copper mine also.
Yeah,
Same with Bisbee.
so that's interesting. Yeah, I haven't played with my dowsing rods that much yet. But I just know that when we were out looking at what was left of the little town outside of this copper mine, the copper mine is still in business. And somebody's ashes were left there too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like on top of this pedestal thing, and I was like, "What is this?" And my husband's like, "Oh, that's someone's ashes."
Oh.
Wow.
Which is kind of sad. It's like, wouldn't the family, if maybe they didn't have family, but
maybe not. That is sad. That's where they're laid to rest.
I forget the name of the town. Yeah, I can't remember what it was called. No, it's like Silver something.
Oh, Silverbell.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that property real well.
Yeah. So it was pretty interesting though. And then we actually went to Paranormal Day.
Cool.
But we didn't get there until like the last speaker.
Oh.
Yeah.
We just missed you guys.
Yeah. And I was like,
wow.
They're probably here, but yeah.
Yeah, we had to call off early. It was hot. The heat was just
I bet.
We were outside in the sun, and we tried to get shady spots as much as possible. And it was just it was hot for an April day. It was really hot.
Oh, I'm sure.
The last speaker was the guy talking about static.
Yeah, static comp.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
That was interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like them a lot. They do it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, I was telling Jody about it after, and another friend of mine. I said, "You got to check this out."
We have a Paracon coming up in September.
Oh.
Yeah.
Little cooler, maybe not.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it'd be a lot cooler. We're definitely going to be there.
Okay. Is that also in Globe?
That's also in Globe. It's going to be held over here at the 1916 Train Depot.
Okay.
And there's some booths, so feel free, come on up and advertise your podcast. I don't
Excellent
know
idea.
Yeah, I mean it's a great idea. I mean, come on up and advertise your podcast, and yeah, it'll be a good one. It should be a good one.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, and then we just got back from Sedona, and we went to the Grand Canyon again. And not a lot experienced, but I found out some interesting things about the Grand Canyon that I didn't know. About the Mogollon,
yeah.
Yeah. The Arizona version of Bigfoot.
The Mogollon Monster. Yes.
Yeah. And I had never heard of that.
I haven't either.
Yeah, we have the Arizona Banshee, and we have the that's an interesting one. I actually did a couple of stories on it. I think those are on my TikTok. They may even be on my YouTube channel. I don't remember exactly, but they're on one or the other. But I definitely did one on the Mogollon Monster on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, I had just come across that. Just, I don't know, for whatever reason. Probably because before we went on our trip, we were like looking at different things to see. And then I get back and I go on my YouTube finally the other day, and it was like full of that. I was like, wow. That's weird.
Yeah, it knew somehow.
Either that or the dogs and cats have been watching YouTube.
Hey, them cats are shady individuals, let me tell you.
But that was because they were attributing that monster to the disappearance of a lot of hikers in the Grand Canyon. But I will say this, there were a lot of people going way beyond the ledge and way beyond like the barriers. And I'm like, well, did they really, or did they do that? I'm sure not all
Yeah.
of them, but
Yeah, maybe some of them just fell to their deaths.
yeah.
Not very smart.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to be known as the person who fell off the ledge, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, what were you doing over there? Oh, I crossed the ledge. And why'd you do that? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
That's how they're disappearing.
They do lose a lot of people that way, but I think they have witnesses,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
unless it's like
I'm gonna
murder.
say, I'm gonna say that there's definitely something out there. There's definitely some kind of Bigfoot thing out there. And one of these days, I need to go out and hunt it down. Get some go and hey, be the first person to get a Bigfoot. Hey, you never know.
You never know.
I'd rather be that
but
person.
if they're dangerous, though, you want to be careful.
Right. Don't want to get too close.
Oh, I don't plan on getting close.
Some theorize that they can go in and out of dimensions, and that's why they're not easily caught or seen. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's an interesting theory.
That is a very interesting theory. That definitely would make sense.
Yeah.
I think personally they live under the water. I think that's really what I think. I think they live underwater because some of the places that have been seen, there's lakes and things like that. So perhaps like a beaver.
Yeah.
Maybe they have like an underground cave that they go underwater, and it's kind of like Star Wars kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe. That could be the dimension thing. Yeah, you just never know, and it's bizarre. And I want to say, I believe it's the state of Washington that says you cannot legally hunt a Bigfoot, like like a big game. It's you can't legally do it. It's
well, that doesn't surprise me, as they're supposed to be one of the states with a lot of sightings.
Yeah. And I thought that was just somebody that was just talking nonsense. I looked it up, and the state laws over there in Washington, the hunting regulations, and I'm like, wow, you literally cannot hunt Bigfoot. Like, you can go out and watch, and all that other stuff, but like to actually go out and tag one, no. It's illegal. Oh, okay, cool. So there's got to be, every story has some truth.
That's true.
So it has to come from somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. And they have their different calls that apparently people have heard them making, like whooping sounds, and which
I go on his podcast every now and then. He goes out and he looks for Bigfoot, and I'm like, well, how do you do that? And what he does is he gets a tree branch and he knocks on a thick tree 3 times and looking to see if anything returns the sound or not. And he has some infrared cameras and things like that. It's really interesting. That's why I want to go out and try it out one of these days.
I think it'd be cool to have night vision goggles.
Yes, night vision is great to have,
but pricey.
Thermal imaging would be better.
Yeah.
And then so we actually stayed one night in the Grand Canyon near the South Rim at a lodge, and there were supposed to be a lot of trails around there, but we were more focused on the rim and things like that. But I want to go back to be able to go down some of the trails, not the treacherous one, just like the nice and easy ones,
Yeah. That's desirable.
I'm not going to try climbing the side of any cliff.
No. I don't think I could do that.
Don't want to.
No.
Getting older and
that just...
no, we're good.
So we're going to try this to see how it goes. I'm going to throw out some, and I don't know if you can pull that up, Jody, on yours. The words.
Is there a link or something?
Yeah, send your signal.
The thing you sent me through what do you call it? Signal that. Yeah, I couldn't get that to come up.
Okay.
Nothing opened up for me.
So I'm going to throw out some random things that have to do with the paranormal, and I want to see if anyone can think of anything that they recall a story about, have experienced, or, something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Or even any debunked stuff.
Right.
So, phantom.
Phantom.
Who's? Is that a phantom?
Yeah, sure.
I'm guessing. Hi, Brian. I'm guessing phantoms are like a ghost. I don't know.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a term that's used often. I think it's kind of an old one.
Right. That they said in the olden days.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a better one though. Apparition.
That's a good one too. That just makes me think of those movies, those ghost horror movies.
Yeah. We use the term apparition.
The only apparition I could ever think of that I had experience with was at that museum, that Elizabeth Watkins Museum in Lawrence, Kansas.
Oh.
There were just some strange, shenanigans going on there. Some stuff that my mom saw. My mom heard like voices behind her on the stairs and smells like perfume that wasn't hers. She didn't wear perfume, so she would have some unusual smells, and the pictures on the wall just showing strange images at the museum.
Would definitely classify as an apparition.
It's the only thing I can really think of. Oops, I think you went mute again. There we go.
Okay. Did you say you she had seen movement in one of the pictures?
Yeah, at one time she was looking at the pictures and she said she swears that the images in the pictures moved, and she wasn't drinking or on drugs or anything, but she saw movement in one of the pictures, and she doesn't know if that was just something that they did for the museum for like a parlor trick or if it really happened, but no one at the museum claimed to know anything about why the pictures were moving or why the images in the pictures were moving, but it was just kind of ghostly and just weird for her.
Yeah. And that particular museum, I can't imagine them using that kind of technology.
No, I don't think so either. It's an old building.
Yeah, it's a very old building.
But has a lot of history.
Yeah. Haunting.
I don't know. You had some of that going on in Florida, didn't you?
Yeah. But I want to hear what he says.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For me, a haunting is there has to be substantial footage, substantial evidence for me to say, something is haunted.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be like my own investigation. It has to be my own findings, my team's own findings, things like that, for me to really say something is haunted. So for instance, like I'm not going to go into the person's house, do an investigation, and then find, a couple of EVPs and maybe a REM pod or two goes off. I'm not going to say it's haunted. Yeah. I will say paranormal, because what is the definition of paranormal? That's
right.
Anything that can't be explained under normal circumstances. But as far as like a house being haunted, no. It's got to be, I got to have a lot of evidence and, things like that.
Sure, of course.
That's how I do things.
Yeah.
I always try to debunk everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds like Elisa. She's the same way. Very scientific, I'm guessing.
I'm not very sciencey background, but yeah, I try.
try to debunk it before we do anything else.
Again, under normal circumstances. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And sometimes people are haunted rather than places. Sometimes a person is haunted.
Or objects.
Well, true. Or cursed.
Cursed objects, yes.
Supposedly the Annabelle doll is missing now?
I just saw it wasn't really missing, but I don't know.
Okay.
That
Good,
sounds like a publicity stunt, but
I'm sure most are.
Yeah. Yeah, they do from what I understand, they do a tour. They take Annabelle on a tour and everything, and they bring her right back to the museum. But yeah, there was some rumors going around that saying that, well, they drove her by this jail, and all of a sudden these inmates, escaped, and they drove her by this plantation, and the plantation caught on fire. And so you're hearing this, you're like, wow, that's kind of cool. But then you start getting into it, which is what I do, and you're like, she wasn't even anywhere near the plantation or that jail. Publicity.
Yeah.
I would have been. That's one of those things where it's like, well, that would have been kind of cool if that were the case.
Yeah, it would have been. Wow.
It was debunked. I debunked it, and you guys can take what you want with what you find. And
I thought that was rather far fetched. So
me too. I was like, I know she's maniacal, but not quite that. I mean, anything's possible in our world,
right? Yeah. Especially these days, but
strange.
That's
my motto.
Poltergeist?
Oh, I was going to ask about that. I have personally not had any that I know of. I think, don't poltergeists tend to, the word doesn't happen, tend to occur around someone that's like an adolescence, um because of the energy is so much stronger for a child or an adolescent.
So my take on that, yes. Some of the poltergeist reports that we've gotten from clients have been around somebody in the adolescent age, usually about the age of 5, 6 years old, between 5 and let's say 12.
Right.
I believe that is a strong connection to it. Is that always the case? No, but it seems like that there's more poltergeist cases when there's usually a kid, and particularly a little girl,
Mm-hmm.
that's involved with it, and it's nothing that the little kid has done. It's just something that some kind of energy that can manipulate physical objects
Yeah.
into moving things, such as slamming of doors. The word poltergeist is German for the word noisy ghost,
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
and it has been accused of being one of the most violent, one of the most scariest ghost encounters that you'll ever find.
Yeah.
I've seen. I'll tell you a little story about this. It wasn't a poltergeist, but it scared a lot of other people. I worked in this old, and every now and then the cupboards would slam open and slam shut and things like that. And so it would scare a lot of the staff. They wouldn't go into the kitchen.
Yeah.
Well, come to find out, and again, I was disappointed, found it out. At the same time, I was like kind of glad because it brought peace of mind to some of our staff. There
Sure.
was a hole in the ventilation system
Oh
that
wow.
when the wind would pick up just right, it would go in through the AC and it would blow the cabinets open, and then with the same amount of force blowing it open, it would act back. And so I was like, well, that's disappointing. I was hoping to catch some really good poltergeists, but on the other hand,
Yeah.
we don't have a poltergeist in this house, so we're good there.
Yeah. At least
And
there's
that's
peace
coming
of
from a
mind. But
person who did. I did AC work for one summer and learned a lot about that. And so I was working in this old folks' home in between seasons, and yeah, quickly we quickly found that out. And we're like, oh wow, that's cool. And so tested it out. We actually found the hole and we ran a air compressor lance through it and ran it through this whole entire ventilation system. And sure enough, it blew open the cabinets. And then with the amount
wow.
of force, it bounced them right back. So it made it look like it was doing this number, and it was only doing it to like one or two cabinets in that section. So
Mm-hmm.
it was
Yeah.
relief. Oh
Right.
man! At the
Yeah.
same time,
Yeah. So they were relieved.
like a flex seal kind of thing, ran it through it,
Mm-hmm.
it fixed it right up. But yeah,
No more. No more banging drawers.
no more
Well,
banging drawers, unfortunately. So
but there's something to be said for also, like, when you have electrical stuff happening and then you can't find an explanation for it,
Mm-hmm.
and you really actually want to rule out that it's anything electrical,
Right.
because that would be much worse.
That's true.
yeah,
Would be dangerous.
absolutely.
But when you can rule it out and the cause of it isn't something so terrible, then
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
good.
That's why we always ask our clients, what do you want out of this investigation, and we will
Mm-hmm.
target that more than anything. Do you want to find a reasonable explanation? Do you want? I mean, what are you, if it is haunted, are you okay with that? Is your staff going to
Mm-hmm.
be okay with that? And we always ask the clients, what it is that you're wanting to get out of this investigation.
Right.
And we never I can't stand fake stuff, and we always have the clients, if you want to, you can sit with us, you can hang with us to show you how we do things, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of just educate them on the paranormal world and things like that. So yeah, we always have somebody from the area or from the house if they choose to. Most of the time they
Mm-hmm.
do. And that's so totally cool. It keeps all of us honest, you know. And a lot of times, my personal belief, a lot of times, if you remove the person from that area, that person could be a trigger object.
Oh, true.
So if you remove the person out of the area or the people or whatever, you're basically you're kind of accomplishing anything.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why, you know, we have clients that that are just like, oh, we don't want to be any part of this. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then we have clients that are like, hey, you know what, I could be a trigger object because it only hits me here at this time in this area. And so I'm like, all right, cool, well, we'll set you up right here and do what you normally do, and we'll film it. And a lot of times that's the case.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a fun one. You don't hear much talk about this anymore. Ectoplasm.
I honestly have never experienced anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's particularly common.
Could be. I mean, we do walk around with our little EMF meter on like we are the Ghostbusters, you know? And I have done the whole Egon Spangler thing where you're in a hotel and you're like, okay, is this a real person? You go up and you touch it and the guy looks at you funny. I have done that before. It is awkward both parts.
I'm sure.
Spectre.
To me, Spectre is another name for apparition.
For what?
Apparition.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, but I don't know. Yeah, usually when they've been in movies, that's what they've been.
That's true.
Maybe something mysterious that pops up every now and then. Like you're doing your normal investigation and you got this strange orb that you've never seen before. It's just got the strange EVP that you've never heard before. And then you don't hear it again for 2 or 3 years, and all of a sudden it pops again. I would think that would cost as a specter.
Okay, here's a fun one. Mothman.
Oh, Mothman.
I only know about it from a movie.
Yeah, me too, from the movie. I've never actually seen one or heard of anyone that has seen one.
Yeah, not personally on hand, but there's been some reports that it is I did a YouTube video on this one as well. It's been said that it is an omen for bad things to happen.
I have read that.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. It's things. This Mothman has been spotted in several different places shortly before accidents happen. So,
oh wow.
Yeah. So I did a YouTube video on it, and usually in West Virginia has been where the first one was spotted, was in West Virginia.
Yeah, I kind of think of it as being confined to that area because I've not heard of anything like Midwest or, West Coast.
That's because the Mogollon Monster scared it away.
Probably. Maybe it ate it.
Maybe it did.
Skinwalker.
Skinwalker.
That's a fun one.
Very fun one. I live 5 minutes away from the San Carlos Apache Reservation.
Oh, wow.
We've heard some weird noises out in our yard before. I know the natives out there don't even say the word skinwalker.
I have heard that.
Yeah. They say, according to the legends, they say that in order to become a skinwalker, you have to do something incredibly bad. And you have to be blessed by a dark medicine man or a dark witch.
Or a witch doctor. Yeah.
Wow.
And what do they do?
They have been known, according to legends, they have been known to be shapeshifters. They can shapeshift into animals, wolves in particularly. Wolves, coyotes, dogs, but there's always something, according to the legends out here that we've talked to many Native Americans out here, look very similar, but not quite. There's something off about them. Maybe they don't move like a dog. They may look like a dog, but kind of differently than a regular dog would. I had one guy tell me it was bulletproof, so I'm like, okay.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
That's disconcerting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always think of hyenas that way. Hyenas always kind of were freaky to me. They're dogs, but they don't. I wonder if they're skinwalkers because they don't act, or they're in the dog family, but they don't act or sound like dogs. Very creepy. I'm convinced hyenas are skinwalkers.
Okay.
Yeah. You may be right.
I don't know. They're just freaky to me.
They are freaky. They are part of the dog family, and they're freaky. I'm not gonna lie. When you
Yeah.
hear them laugh,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
that's evil. That is evil.
Yes, it is. This sounds like an evil laugh.
But I mean, I could say that about the coyotes.
True.
Because
Those are.
when they're going after something, they sound like cute puppies.
I know.
Sure.
They yap.
Yeah. How about
And you're
this
like,
one?
oh.
You guys ever heard a mountain lion or a cat scream?
I have. Mm-hmm.
Blood curdling.
Yeah. Because it does not sound like
It sounds
what it
like
is.
a girl screaming in the woods.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you're like,
Yeah.
what is that? I have never heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds are almost creepier than seeing it.
Oh, yeah.
If I hear something, I'm much more creeped out than if I actually see it.
Right. Because you see it, you can by it, but you hear it, and you're like, what?
Like what was that?
That?
Your imagination runs wild.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can't see it. You're like you said, your imagination is just running way before you see.
So, because guess what word is also on here? Shapeshifter. So, do you think a shapeshifter is more like an actual skinwalker, or can it be a separate type of thing?
So far, I don't know of any legends or any other stories of shapeshifters other than skinwalkers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't either.
I wonder if
Other than
skinwalkers are
other than
more
the
like they're skinwalkers, like they are imitating something that looks familiar but isn't the real thing. Like it's imitating a dog, it's imitating a coyote. Whereas shapeshifters seems more monstrous to me. I don't know.
Like
Not
maybe
really.
they are the ones that imitate people.
Could be, yeah. People that you think are regular
You think-
people, but
Say
are
you think
shapeshifters.
something is your mom,
Yeah,
but it
somebody familiar, but it's not. Something's off about that person. Or we've met strangers or even people we've met that are like something's not right with them. That could be a shapeshifter. I don't know. Don't necessarily jump to that conclusion, but that just seems more like what a shapeshifter is. Whereas a skinwalker looks like an animal. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, I've never heard of really any stories or any legends or anything of shapeshifters in particular, but
yeah.
doesn't mean they're not out there. I just
right. And I know we talked about mimics when you were on last time.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
That seems like a type of shapeshifter.
Yeah, that's what brought me into that. I was like, oh, a mimic, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
think mimic, to me, I feel like it's more of a sound. It emulates a sound of a person or a dog or, I've heard stories, I've seen documentaries about someone. There was one of a lady on her screened-in porch, and she couldn't see outside because it was so dark. So she doesn't know what was up, but she actually went hello, and she heard her exact voice go back hello from outside. And the people of the documentary thought that might have been a mimic. That's freaky.
That is freaky. My daughter was house sitting for my other daughter, my oldest daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And she was doing I don't know, she was in the kitchen doing something. And she could have sworn that she heard my son-in-law's voice.
Wow.
So she's like, what? You're not even in the state. You're in Vegas. So she calls me up. She says, Dad, I think I heard Arlon's voice. I'm like, really? Like,
wow.
How'd you do that? He's like, I was in the kitchen and I swear to God I heard his voice.
That's like, weird.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be creepy.
Yeah, definitely.
She was creeped out.
Yeah. Well, I think, you would notice something was off if you saw someone, especially if they weren't supposed to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
But hearing is kind of like trying to lure you to something.
I think that's what mimics do. I think they try to, like a mimic would be like, help, help, and there's nobody there, but they're trying to lure you somewhere.
I have a mimic story. I don't know. I might have told it last time. But I was at work, and on the radio, I hear my name. Names. Comes up behind me. He says, "Hey, where you going?" Well, so I'm going down to the tank farm with you. He says, "You ain't going down there with me." I said, "Boy, you're the one who told me to go down there." He says, "I didn't tell you to go down there."
Oh,
said, don't go down there. There's a acid leak down there.
Oh shoot!
I was like, "Well, what the hell are you telling me on the radio?" I was pissed off at him. I thought he was like, "It's like, dude, I never would have said that." And so I was like, "Dude, it was your voice. It's like I never would have told you to go down there." I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
like, dude,
that's
it's 2 o'clock in the
creepy.
morning. Quit screwing with me, man. I'm like, we're tired. Like, quit screwing with me, dude.
Yeah.
And then I tell the boss, the boss is down there. He says, "What are you going down to the tank farm for?" I was like, Michael told me to. He says, "When?" It's over the radio. You didn't hear it? He says, "I didn't hear anything."
Oh wow. It's just meant for you.
Yeah, it was just meant for me to get hurt or do something in there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know there was an acid leak in there, and I was going to go down there without acid clothing.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, that would
it
not have been good.
it probably knew that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was weird. It was weird. That place was
Ah,
probably one of the most haunted places I've ever worked at. Pinto
Wow.
Valley Mine out at Capstone, and then Florence Copper. Those two places were hands down the most haunted places I had ever worked at.
wow.
Wow.
I mean, I have seen some weird, crazy things, and we came in. We did 12-hour shifts, 6 to 6, and we came in. This was about winter time, and we were sitting down in the break room doing a safety. We call it a tailgater. That's where everybody gets lined out for the day. Who's going to do what, things like that. So all of a sudden, the can gets knocked over, and the lid flies.
Wow.
And so everybody except for me, because I'm curious about all this stuff, and everybody in the room is just like, "See you later, fat boy." We're left me all
Bye.
alone. That's exactly what it was. Bye. Like,
Yeah.
hey, we're not done with the safety meeting. He's like, "Yeah, you'll figure it out."
Yeah.
Come
You have
on.
the meeting by yourself.
I was like, "Oh, come on,
Wow.
man. It's not gonna hurt you."
And if you're saying it's haunted, then
that
it
was
must
an
have something
interesting
to
place.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was built on a Indian ruin site.
Wow. That explains a
Enough
lot.
said right there, right? Yeah.
Right.
So every now and then we would go out and we would dig for things, and we would come across, the remains of a Native American. So we
Wow.
actually had a protocol to actually call the medicine man. Real nice guy. I believe he was from the Sackatone Reservation. Real nice guy. And we had to call him as soon as we came across any kind of remains or any kind of pottery or anything like that. And we had this sacred spot that he would put all these remains in, and he would go and do a blessing before he would pick the remains up, and then he would do a blessing outside, after he placed the remains in this regulated area where you couldn't get in. And also, it was also their belief during the winter solstice and the summer solstice, they would open up the gate to this area, and it was their belief
Wow.
because the spirits of the dead would come out and meet up with family members and things like that. That's an old belief, and I thought it was really cool. But yeah, that by far was probably those two mines, but Florence Copper was probably the most haunted place I ever worked at.
Really?
Just
Wow.
crazy activity.
Oh, I'd love to go see that.
Yeah, they do tours there.
Oh, nice.
In the daytime, of course, and they want to show everybody how they do mining and stuff like that.
Oh,
And,
sure. A lot to learn.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely go check them out. I think
what is it called? I better write
it's
that
called
down.
Florence Copper Project.
Florence Copper Project.
Yeah, but it's right there in Florence, just off of Hunt Highway.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some very historical things going on there. We've seen a lot of strange lights there. Back, I don't know what happened to it, but I caught a strange light. I have it on video somewhere on one of my phones. I have a video of a strange light. Somewhere. Yeah, I don't know where it's at though.
It's hiding.
It's hiding. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was by far the craziest place I've ever been to. I would love to go down there and just do an all-night investigation and just.
Oh yeah.
My God, that place was just alive.
Wow. And when you try to debunk things, if you're actually saying it's haunted, then there's something to it.
There is something to it. I've seen things. My wife has seen things. I've seen things on camera that couldn't be explained.
Yeah.
I think one of the craziest. This is kind of a funny story, and I laugh to this day about it. I don't even think the guy works there anymore, but it was too funny. We were out in the well field. And the well field is where we do all the mining, and that's a whole other process. We'll get into that some other time. in the well field. There's nothing around it. There's literally nothing around it except a bunch of whales and things like that. Well, my buddy is like, he was terrified of clowns, like hands down, mortified of clowns.
Wow.
And so we're doing some whale work, just me and him, and all of a sudden, this red balloon comes floating through the
Oh
entire,
no.
yeah, this
Oh
just
no.
floats right in through the whole entire, across the well field, and
Oh
just some
God.
random red balloon. Well, there's a school, there's an elementary school that's just up the road a ways,
Uh-huh.
and so I'm thinking in my head, okay, some kids were out playing with balloons, and that's how else would that ever happen? But
Right.
this guy's imagination was running wild, and I was feeding into it really
Oh, I'm sure.
bad. I was like, he's gonna get you, Dakota. He's gonna get you. He's looking for you.
He's coming.
Go find that red balloon.
It's that it clown.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
Oh, there are
Yeah,
a lot of people that have
it was
fear of
funny.
clowns.
Yeah, there is.
They don't bother me. I don't know. I'm not really bothered by clowns. I don't really care one way or the other.
They used to scare me, but
Yeah.
not so much anymore.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Clown Motel?
Yeah, up in Tonopah. Would love
I'd like to go there
someday.
Now, is that one supposed to be haunted?
I don't think the hotel itself is, but there's a cemetery that's right next to it.
Oh.
That people have.
I didn't know
people have
that.
found them. Yeah, it's hotels. It's the cemetery, and there's a bunch of miners that were killed during mining or because of sickness, illness, things like that. But there's an actual cemetery that's right next to it. I mean, you literally park next to your hotel room, and it's like 2 feet away from the.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a weird place to build a hotel.
Very
Yeah,
weird
true.
place.
It is. I don't know how long it's been there. I'd have to do research.
It's been there since the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it's not in Arizona. It's up. We have a Tonopah, Arizona, but it's up in the Nevada section. So there's it's a gold mine at that point because
Okay.
was a gold state. That's why they call it one of the golden states.
Oh, okay.
And I have questions. So we brought up strange lights. Any what you would consider unidentified flying objects or
So one time we have 2 witnesses. It was our chief metallurgist, and this same place, Florence Copper. Chief metallurgist and our one of my electricians and me. We walk outside the admin building, and we happen to look over towards the Coolidge area, and we see these 3 triangular lights. Now, at first, they kind of look like flares from a jet, like they're out fighting.
right.
That's exactly what they look like. But they're in a triangle, and they're not falling, and they're not burning out. And so I'm just sitting there looking at it, and my electrician's like, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "Just check out those lights right there." And he's like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And we're just sitting there kind of just staring at it. The chief metallurgist comes up behind me. "What are you guys looking at?" I'm like, "I'm looking at those lights over there." He's like, "Oh, yeah, those are flares from a jet and everything." I'm like, "Yeah, probably." They just disappeared. I'm like, "Okay, no big deal." So we didn't think nothing about it. So we're driving down to the control room, which is about, I don't know, a couple hundred yards away, and we're driving down to the control room, and I just told him, I said, my electrician, I said, there's something strange about those, and he says, yeah, that was kind of strange, and I said, well, if they show back up, I'll let you go, I'll let you know, we'll go check it out.
Yeah.
He's like, cool. He's not into the paranormal, he was into the UFO things, which I'm like, hey, I can dig that too, and
yeah,
and so I'm outside. This is about 3 or 4 hours later. I'm outside. This is nighttime, obviously. I'm outside smoking a cigarette, and I just happen to look over that direction. And I open the door, and I just tell him, I said, "Hey, Jake, remember those lights we saw earlier?" And he says, "Yeah." And I said, "They're back." He's like, "Shut up!" And I'm like, "Dude, for real, they're back." And so he hauls ass out there, and he looks up there, and he's like, "Wow, right in the same formation." And I said, "Yeah, in the same formation." So I said, "Well, let's go over to Coolidge and let's check it out." So we went over towards Coolidge. Oh, I think we lost Lisa.
Oh, we did?
We must have.
Shoot. Oh, well, keep going.
Okay, all right. And so anyways, just as we're driving, we finally stop and park, and the 3 lights converge into one, and then, I don't know, R2-D2 decided to kick it off into hyperdrive, and they were nowhere to be found.
Wow.
So we didn't really say anything about it, and he happens to go look on this website that he goes and looks at. I don't remember the name of the website, but he goes and looks at this website,
Yeah.
and I guess it reports strange lights and shit like that. So, I guess somebody else saw that same thing too and reported it on this website.
Wow.
So yeah, it was like pretty amazing.
That's wild.
So
I
yeah,
don't know what happened to Elisa,
I don't know.
but hopefully she'll be back. Otherwise, I couldn't think. You answered my questions. I was wondering about poltergeists and the dowsing rods, especially.
Okay.
Um, I have a pair myself, and like I said, I was skeptical about them as well. But when I asked questions, they would respond. And when I didn't, and I thought, well, am I moving them? And then when I didn't, it's kind of like the Ouija board thing.
Yeah.
When I didn't ask questions, they stayed still, and I didn't move. And so
Yeah.
I think there's something to them for sure.
There definitely is. There definitely is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, you can check out our YouTube channel over on Chilling Encounters.
Okay.
And it's on. I think it's one.
Oh,
of
she
our...
said she lost internet on the computer. Oops.
Oh no.
She just sent a message. That's okay. We can wrap it up anyway.
Okay.
I do appreciate your time. You're the Southwestern Paranormal Society on TikTok as well.
We're actually on Chilling Encounters on TikTok, but
Chilling Encounters on TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chilling Encounters is TikTok and YouTube, and our Southwestern Paranormal is our Facebook, and it's our name of our company.
Okay, nice. They can find you there. And you said the YouTube channel was which one again?
Chilling Encounters.
Chilling Encounters on YouTube. Awesome. Yes. Okay. I think I have you added on Facebook and TikTok, but not on YouTube. So I'm going to add you on YouTube. So
okay, great. Yeah.
I do appreciate your time today. Like and subscribe to our listeners. And if you have any paranormal stories for us or something that's happened to you, always email us at the Spooky Sisters 666 at gmail.com. And again, James, I do appreciate your time today, and say hello to Miss Annette for us as well.
Will do. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, James. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Hi, this is Electric Elisa, and I just wanted to apologize for disappearing during the episode because my internet decided to disappear on me during this. And just want to let you know that everything's fine. And fortunately, Jody and James were able to finish out the recording successfully. And I want to thank James Mills for being on again. And thank you for listening, and catch us on our next episode. Thank you.